Welcome to Setting the Bar, a Workbar Podcast. I'm Maddie.
I'm Sarah.
And we are here with Tracey Sullivan of Laxachusetts. We are very excited to have you.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us. This is Sarah's turn to fangirl.
This is Sarah's turn to fangirl.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
have been other times that I've had to be like, oh my God.
I know, it's true. Maddie has Ty Law and I have Tracey Sullivan.
It's amazing.
I feel so honored.
How it
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes. But this is a fun one for me. Not only because Tracey, as I hope all of our listeners know, is lighting the women's sports world on fire. But she also has a direct impact on my family because my daughter Annabelle plays for Laxachusetts. And Tracey is the founder of the Girls Laxachusetts program, and she is the director of it now. And she is a girl after my own heart because she builds confidence and she inspires the next generation of female athletes in Boston. And she is someone that my daughter looks up to fiercely.
I love that. Hi, Annabelle.
Yes, hi, Annabelle. But fiercely. And so this is
goosebumps.
This is a really fun one for me. I won't do Tracey justice trying to run down her biography really quickly. But she does bring the same leadership and passion to the professional stage as the assistant coach of the Boston Guard in the brand new Women's Lacrosse League, which
Go Guard.
like go guard. And she has a direct part of women's lacrosse making their debut into the Olympics in 2028. That's right, 2028
Yep.
in Los Angeles, which we should all go out for.
We really should.
And so we're going to dive into the story of how Laxachusetts came to be, the rise of lacrosse in women's sport, and what the future looks like for what I think of as the most popular sport in all of Massachusetts. And let's face it, Massachusetts is the center of the world. So, like, world domination.
What is the phrase? It's like, as the world turns, so goes. I can't think of it. It's like something like,
opera.
no, I know, as the world turns, but it's like, as goes Massachusetts, so does the rest of the world. Something more eloquent than that, but that's what we believe.
So we'll kick it off by obviously discussing Tracey's links to Boston because Boston is where it's all at. So Tracey went to UMass, was a star on the UMass lacrosse team, where after graduation she coached. And then she also coached at Boston University. And then I believe in 2011, she went on to be the founder of the girls' side of Laxachusetts.
Yeah, so I was so lucky to be connected. I have to give a huge shout out to Acacia Walker, head coach at Boston College. She is the epitome of women's lacrosse and a dream human.
Yes.
Her and I started it together. She was the best. She used to coach my sister at UMass Amherst. You know, everything comes back to good old UMass. And she helped me start Laxachusetts and still very, very involved today. She is just so big time, obviously with the Eagles.
I mean, hello, shout out to all of the Eagles.
The
BC
best.
is the best program.
So it was awesome to have her right in the beginning to help get the girls, you know, to believe in what we believed in our vision. And she's, you know, now Wesley's in 6th grade and playing for us. And Acacia comes as much as humanly possible to be involved with Wesley. And her younger daughter's 5, so she'll be here for a long time.
She should get in there,
Oh,
too.
yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Oh, that's amazing.
so cool.
So how did it kick off? Because I know there was more UMass Amherst connections that brought you on to Laxachusetts.
Yeah, so Dan Chenard, Dave Evans, and Sean Morris started Boys Laxachusetts.
Okay.
And Sean Morris and I went to UMass Amherst together. So that's kind of the connection. And it started back in, 2011 when we started doing clinics because Dan Chenard had a daughter.
Okay.
And he said, and she was the oldest. And, you know, his wife, you know,
Isn't that funny?
put it down and said, well, if you do this for the boys, we need it for the girls.
You'll love to hear it.
You know,
That's
so
cool.
Acacia and I started doing clinics, and then, you know, I think it was in 2012 is when we officially were a club, and we started 3rd through 7th grade. You start small, you got to build.
Yeah.
And we had the most dedicated families that believed in what we did, and I will forever be grateful to them because that's what started it all.
One funny story, we were at the dentist, the Cohasset pediatric dentist.
Shout out to Cohasset pediatric dentist.
So Annabelle had on her, we had just come from, or we were going to tryouts, and she had on a Laxachusetts shirt. And her, the person cleaning her teeth was like, do you guys know Tracey Sullivan?
And you're like, actually.
And then she went on to play for, I think, Assumption College. And she was like, we do know Tracey Sullivan.
That's awesome.
And she was like, oh my God. And she just talked about, like, but anyways, it's like, you wear any Laxachusetts gear out into the wilderness and you will find your people.
For sure.
You will.
Sure.
I think that is so cool because Boston obviously is the best sports city. We talk about it as often as we can.
We do.
And it is so awesome to see a sport like lacrosse like start to get on the big stage.
It's awesome.
It's crazy to me that it's taken this long, but I'm so glad it's here. And it's cool that, you know, Massachusetts is a small-ish state, but like that is hugely impactful.
Right.
You love to see it.
You do love to see it. And I almost jumped ahead to Massachusetts being having one of the 4 teams in the Women's Lacrosse League, but I'm going to save that for a second because I do kind of want to start out with Laxachusetts. And, you know, back then when you guys started the clinics, what were your goals for the program? And I mean, I can tell firsthand being at the tryouts a month ago, I've never seen so many people in my life. And it is
crazy.
It is now the club in Massachusetts.
So cool.
Was that your goal starting out? Like,
no,
what were your goals?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know what to expect.
Right.
You know, I remember we had 100 kids at our first tryout, and I was psyched. I was like, this is awesome. And I knew with who we had coaching and who I knew in our connections and who we were going to be able to bring in, that this was going to be something special. Did I think it would get to be what it was at, like in our July tryouts?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I just take a step back and I'm like, like, this is so cool, and I'm so blessed. And, you know, I have the most amazing staff, right? The best coaches in the world, and I get to do what I love. So it was just so cool to see it come from 100 girls having so much fun, and we had our hand in everything, to what it is now. It's unbelievable.
It's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride.
It's a wild
I would be so curious, actually, what both of you think about the statement I'm about to make, because you have parents of older kids who are really in youth sports now. And my experience with youth sports was through my brothers, who were really good athletes and like were recruited to colleges and stuff like that. I was just like the cheerleader, tennis player, black sheep of the family. But I feel like youth sports has made such a, I don't know if I want to say like rebrand or just a pivot in general, but I feel like for a while people were really down on youth sports because of the pressure and like the kind of parenting it brought out, and the kind of experience these kids were having was a lot more negative, I feel like. And I maybe it's just because I'm a mom now, but I feel like it's made such a turnaround where there is just so much more positive stuff to say about youth sports.
I think
Agree
you
or
have to find
disagree?
it.
You have to find it.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
still
think,
bad out
I
there
think,
somewhere.
You know, I have 2 older-ish kids, right? 10 and 9. And we, you know, they do different club sports. They play hockey and lacrosse and, you know, all the things. But I think you have to be really mindful of where you choose to put your kids and who's coaching them. I think that's the number one, the most important aspect, and who's leading the program. You know, we've had really good experiences and we've had not so good experiences, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We just find something different because there are so many options. That's what I love.
That's
you know?
really great to hear. Yeah.
There are a lot more options. I think if that, like sometimes I would think in the past, maybe back in the 2000s, you didn't have as many
true.
options.
That's a
whereas
good
now
point.
you do. And if you're not happy, that's okay.
Right.
You know, and we have people that don't agree necessarily with everything we choose to do, or what team the kid's on, whatever it might be. And it's like, that's okay. This isn't
not
right
a
for
fit.
you.
Right.
No big deal. You know, here are some other options that might work better.
But clearly, most people feel like it is the right thing if you're having so many kids turn out.
No,
and
we're
I think
very
that's
lucky.
so great.
We're very lucky.
I think that when we decided to join Laxachusetts, one of the number one factors was obviously the great reputation you guys have, but also that you encourage the kids to play multiple sports.
Huge. So important.
Yes.
The number one thing, when I talked to all my pro girls, it was like, did you give up X, Y, and Z to play lacrosse? And they said, we played 3 sports all the way in high school. Or, you know, half the pro girls played 2 sports in college,
Yeah,
which is
that's wild.
unheard of
Yeah.
nowadays, or it's very, very
It's very
difficult to do.
hard.
But that's our number one thing is I want those high-level soccer players, hockey, field hockey.
Yeah.
The sport translates so well. so many less injuries. The kids' athletic IQ goes through the window. Their speed, their agility. It's the number one thing. No, if any club is telling you to give up everything else you do and just play one sport, it's not the right place, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's true. I remember emailing you very early on with Annabelle years ago saying I had no idea what a commitment Laxachusetts was, and it's not like a huge commitment. It's scary when you start getting all the emails, right?
Totally.
But I was like, she also is a ski racer. I think we have to drop out. And you were like, absolutely not.
No.
Like a lot of our girls are ski racers.
We do. We have a ton of ski racers.
Right.
And it works out because you can go to everything during the week. You might miss 5 practices on the weekends in the winters, but no big deal. We can catch you up. It's all good.
I love that.
It's all good.
It's so cool to hear about programs that are really high level and creating really, really high level. I mean, as high as it goes, athletes who are also like, we'll catch you up.
Yeah.
It's like, even when I was just a cheerleader, it was like, if you missed practice, like you couldn't cheer at the game. And it's like, well, I have a life outside of this one thing. And it's such a great way to create these really like well-rounded, special kids.
Yeah.
Another shout out to
you're
Annabelle.
coaching the whole person, I think. And I always say on a lot of whenever somebody asks me like how I became a good leader, I always say it's because I played sports growing up and, field hockey and lacrosse and even through college. And I really talk about that. As somebody who runs both the business side and being an athlete yourself, what do you think of as how are you coaching kids and what are you saying on the sidelines that you think translates well as they get older in the lessons they need to know, like in a boardroom, in an office?
No, absolutely. One is inspire their confidence, right? I want them to be able to step on the field, believe in themselves, and be okay with mistakes.
Yeah.
That's huge,
That is huge.
And, constantly being okay with feedback. Like, feedback is not a bad thing, right? Like, and teaching them, that they can have internal feedback, right? Like, ooh, that girl just beat me 3 times on the draw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then let's figure out how to fix it, right? That's something that they need to learn because when they're, in an office setting, they need to figure out, that's probably not the right thing I should do. I'm going to go find help, or how do I get better? Or how do I improve, an email or my spreadsheet, whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah.
And I just think, always asking questions and making sure that, the coach is, I tell my coaches all the time, that positive, inspirational, like speak, if you will, to the kids is what I want to hear. There are other programs, especially, Mid-Atlantic or down there, that those coaches are absolutely ruthless, and you see those kids and their confidence just sink, right? And I think there's a way that you can demand the best out of them, right? Without completely taking away their confidence and their love for that game.
Yeah.
And hopefully all those skills that we're trying to teach them, that growth mindset, how to set goals, how to have visions of what they want to do in the next year or so. Hopefully all those things is what's going to really translate to the future.
I can absolutely see that. And I think you're right. I think especially dealing with like girls and women athletes, it's all about the confidence. For people who don't know, Laxachusetts' motto is dream big. And that's what your culture really is based on. So as you think about how big you guys have gotten over the course of the past decade, how do you keep that culture alive and healthy and fun? Because I know your biggest thing is like the love of the game. And keeping that throughout your whole career.
Well, I am so lucky. I have the best girls that I work with directly. So Abby Simone and Sammy Taylor and Kath Terhune, they are my right-hand women. And I think one thing I'm very bad at is delegating. And they're the 3 that are like, oh, no, I got this. I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing. Oh, I didn't talk to you, but this is what I did. I was like, amazing. They just take the ball and run with it. We've been doing this a long time. I mean, they started with me when Acacia was there, and they have never left, which is awesome.
That's really special.
And then, and then all the coaches, like they bring so much energy because a lot of them all of them have full-time jobs, right?
Oh, wow.
And so lacrosse is just what they do because they love it. So it's just huge to remember is that they're coming to coach all these kids, but they just work to 9 to 5.
Right.
Or they might have an 8-month-old at home and they come to lacrosse all the time because this is what they love. That's what inspires me every day is when I show up and I see my coaches and I see them interacting with those kids, and then my kids are out there, right? And they love it and they have the best practice, and you're just like, oh, it's all meant to be, And it's unbelievable, and that is for sure what keeps me dreaming big,
That is so special. And I feel like you said about like having the 8-month-old and little kids, and I think even for the kids who aren't necessarily there to play, just like seeing their parents show up in that way or seeing their brother or sister show up in that way. And for your own kids to see you continuing to show up like that, so passionate about what you do, I think, talk about inspiring confidence. It's like, wow, I can do anything.
I mean,
If
it
my
was
parents
cool.
can do this-
Yesterday, we're in the car with my 2 older ones going to like a workout, and the Florida coach calls. And I was like, all right, give me 5 minutes. I got to talk to the Florida coach. And my son's like, what? This is so cool. And he heard me like run through players that they're interested in and what's going to happen on September 1st. And my kids were just like, this is the coolest thing in the world, you know?
Yeah.
That
I
is
was like, how, like, that has got to be so cool for them, right? Because now they're starting to understand. They didn't understand before. Before I'd be like, here's a pacifier, here's a book, I don't know.
Right.
But now they're like, they understand the magnitude of it, right? Because they
Yes.
see Florida Gators on TV and then they're like, this is unbelievable, Mom.
That is
so
very
it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. That's a special mom moment. I'm not going to cry,
is.
but I want to.
She's not gonna
I want to.
My little ones do not get it yet. They still need to, snack.
Yeah,
when
you're
I'm
like,
on the phone,
hello,
but
iPad,
that's okay.
here you go. Yeah.
That is great. I have to carpool a group of kids up to my daughter's school on the North Shore, and when I drive them home, I'm still working.
Right.
So the AirPods are on. I'm taking phone calls, and I'll keep my language, appropriate for the 6th grade, 7th grade kids. But I'm like, I can't feel bad about turning the music off and taking my work calls. And you guys should listen to me because you're in class and like, this is how you run a company and this is how you multitask. And,
1,000%.
That's just, as working moms, that's what we do.
Right, exactly.
Amen.
Multitasking is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely key.
That's how it is. So as going from a coach to a business owner, what are like the unglamorous sides of running the business that we don't see?
Well, I'm
That
sure, as
still
you
have to-
know,
yes, there are
you're
a lot of
never off the
unglamorous.
clock.
You're never off
Ever.
the clock.
Which is
No.
fine. And
Yeah.
I've learned to be totally okay with it because sometimes when I do shut down, I'm like, what do I do now?
Yeah,
You feel like, am I forgetting
Like, what?
something?
That's when the Bama Rush comes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's not
exactly.
healthy.
Thank God for social media.
But yeah, I think that's number one. You just have to be okay with always being on, always being on call, because whether it's a parent or it's a college coach or it's a player, you're always needed.
Yeah.
But I'm totally okay with that because I'm a worker and it's what
Yeah.
I love to do, right? And I'm
Right.
always, sometimes when I do get down or I have my moments, I'm just like, but I'm doing what I love.
You have to remind
But I'm
yourself.
doing what I love.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really important. But yeah, lots of computer time, lots of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Everyone always jokes that I know every single player in Laxachusetts first and last name, and I do.
That's
fully,
wild.
but that's because I stare at spreadsheets from 6 a.m. when I wake up until 5 p.m. And sometimes I'm like, I just need a last name. Oh, I got it. You're Annabelle. You're from Hingham. I know where you go to school. I know it all, but it's up there.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And everything we do is planned a year in advance. So it's funny because people will be like, well, I'm getting married. And I'm like, okay, well, this is my schedule. And don't plan it around me, but I'm just telling
just
you.
FYI.
You can tell me I could tell you in 2026 where I'm going to be on this date.
Wow.
Because everything's 1 year in advance. So, just like understanding that and
Is that unique to Laxachusetts, or is that just like the nature of sports
nature of
programming
the
now?
sports program, yeah. Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
My kids also play hockey, and it's not like that. They give you the schedule 2 weeks before,
Right.
and to me, I want to die on the
Yes.
inside
Oh my
because I'm such a
God.
planner.
Yes.
I like to say, here, families, here's fall and winter, and I will get you summer in about 3 weeks.
That's amazing.
You'll know where you're going to be because that's what I need as a
Right.
mom of 4, and I know all of our families are in it.
Yes.
They're doing the same thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's really important to me.
It takes a lot of the anxiety away from it.
Totally.
And I would especially imagine like the new families coming into a club program. It is, you're not in it yet.
No,
It
I'm
is-
not.
There's an overwhelming sense of how am I going to manage all of this? And you don't realize till you're in it that it's manageable.
Totally.
But having it in Tracey's spreadsheets, it is, and the long emails that come out. I mean,
I try.
It is
No,
overall-
I over-communicate.
Yeah, it is,
No,
but
that
is wonderful for families.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. My oldest, we tried field hockey for the first time last fall, and I felt that big time, these long emails, and I was like, I can't even like digest this. But then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, you can do this.
Right.
Take a deep breath. And I was like, okay, I would way rather hear like 6 weeks from now, this is what's happening, expect this
Yeah.
and this. you got to know
Especially
ahead
because
of
most
time.
families are two working parents at this point.
Absolutely.
And maybe have more than one kid. And I mean, I can't imagine the hockey on top
my
of
God, I
lacrosse, because
know.
hockey to me is
Hockey
like
gives
one of the
me
scariest things out
anxiety.
there.
Very scary, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is. That's like a monster.
I'd be
right
happy
under
if I
your
just
bed.
got a schedule and then I'll be good.
that's
Yeah,
all-
you're
that's
like,
all I need.
Hint,
Then I
hint.
can
We
find
won't
carpools.
name drop the hockey programs, but if you're
Give me a
listening,
schedule.
yeah. No, that's fair.
It is fair. And going back a little bit, Maddie had touched on like how youth sports has changed over since we were all younger. I don't even remember club sports being a thing back then. I know you started lacrosse in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Do you think that somebody now could start lacrosse in 9th grade and have a success? I mean, didn't Charlotte North start in 9th grade
She
too?
started late too.
Yeah,
She's
started.
such an exceptional basketball player.
I know. We'll talk about
Yeah,
Charlotte soon.
yeah.
But do you think that world still exists, or has it changed so much?
I think it does. So
You
I
do?
used to coach high school at Braintree High.
Yep.
My best players were the kids that were off the volleyball and basketball courts.
Is that right?
Made a mistake. Could we compete with the Westwoods that played since they were in 2nd grade? No.
Yep.
But we were top 10. We were
Wow.
top 15 because I
Wow.
just had the best athletes.
Yeah.
So I think it depends, right? How
Okay.
athletic you are
Yep.
and how easily you can translate the catching and throwing, because that's all that matters, or how much you're willing to put time on the wall, right? Because stick work is the most important thing in lacrosse. So I think it's possible. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to do.
It's
sure.
hard.
For
Yeah,
sure.
that's an uphill battle at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. These kids, even if the skill level is similar, just the experience, you can't replace experience.
Right.
So that
Right.
makes sense.
But
Yeah.
the more athletic you are,
Right.
And
the
if
more
you
it
had
matters.
right, and if you had played
Totally.
basketball or played
Well,
other sports,
that's like
it's
Annabelle,
easier.
or I think about my brothers who like were soccer players their whole lives, but my brother got recruited to play lacrosse for college.
Yeah.
He can play any sport. I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
You
it's a
yeah,
gift.
it's just
Yeah.
it's like a inherent thing.
Yeah, and I have to ask about that Boston Globe article that came out. I always bring in Boston Globe articles. I don't know why. It's like my thing.
I mean-
it's like that's what people know about me now, I feel like. But it targeted girls lacrosse, and it targeted like the referees and the parents. So not to go down a negative path, but what is your perspective on that? And what is your perspective on, because boy, I think that managing parents is probably worse than managing the kids,
It's
right?
pretty difficult. Yeah.
I could
No,
not
I mean,
imagine.
I think we set our expectations right from the beginning. You've known we send out frequent reminders about what sideline behavior is acceptable
Ooh,
for
I
us.
love that.
We have had to need to ask parents to leave. Not in the past couple of years. It's gotten a lot better,
Yeah.
believe
Has
it
it?
or not.
Yeah.
But it's just so important that, as a parent, right? When I go to my son's Laxachusetts games, I sit and I clap and I cheer my kid on. That's all I do.
That's all
And
you
I know
do.
the game. Nobody else around me really knows the game, and they're
Yeah.
screaming and they're coaching their
Right.
kid. It's like, just be a parent,
out.
right? Enjoy the moment. Just let them be coached by the people that you just paid all this money to
Right.
coach your
Yes.
kid, right? Like,
Yes.
I just think that's so important. And I do the same for, other sports, hockey and football, which I know nothing about, right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm just there to be his biggest cheerleader and
Yeah.
supporter and
Totally.
his team, which I think is really important. But, that article was just heart-wrenching, but I see it all the
was.
time. And these
Yeah.
refs, and, as a coach, I really try hard not to scream at officials because we don't have a lot of them.
Yes.
And mistakes are going to happen, and that's
Right.
fine. So I
Yes.
just think it's about the tone. It's the way you approach the refs. A ref's never changed a call because you screamed at him. I've never seen it happen.
That is a very valid point.
So I don't think it's going to work still to this day.
Yeah.
But it's just hard. I just think it's just reminding your parents constantly, this is the expectation. And we're fortunate enough to use that college recruiting carrot that we
Yeah.
dangle. And it's like, look, the college coaches are recruiting our families too. And it's
the whole
huge. And our
family.
reputation is really good with parents
Yep.
at that next level, right? Those college coaches are also recruiting our clubs. So they know if our expectations of parents is to sit on the sidelines, be supportive, be positive. They're walking up and down. They don't hear anything. All is good, right? And then they're going to continue to come back to our Laxachusetts games. Whereas some teams and clubs have very negative reputations, and coaches aren't going to touch those kids. I know.
Yeah,
It's
why
horrible.
would you?
And I've had that on the college recruiting side of it. They're like,
Right.
we're not. I've seen that parent. No
Wow.
way. I know, which is so sad.
It's so sad for the
Does not
kid.
happen. Has not happened in a long time.
Yeah.
I heard of it more than experienced it, but I know that it's out there for sure.
And I think the article was more towards town teams than it was
Yeah.
towards club teams.
Totally.
And we're lucky enough in Hingham to have a our coach is a Laxachusetts coach.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kelly, my favorite.
I love it.
But yeah, and it is you do take cues from your coach and
Absolutely.
just sit there and clap
Yep.
even if you
Yeah.
played and you know the rules. Right. You're right though. It's a very good perspective to think no one's ever changed a call because they got yelled at.
Never.
Well,
Refs
and
never going to change a call.
no kid is like, kids will say, athletes will say, my mom or my dad was really hard on me and pushed me. But no kid is ever like, when I was humiliated on the sideline by my mother or father,
Horrible.
it made me a better athlete.
Horrible.
Those are like the horrible memories that these
Yeah.
kids
It's
have.
just-
I think social media and just like media in general probably it does a good service for that, because people who are like that like get embarrassed now.
know.
It's like even during first grade field hockey, there were dads who were going absolutely ballistic, and I would be like,
Right.
Yeah. Just
all right, buddy, sit
Right.
down. You're
I know.
good.
Right.
You're good. And they're like,
I
oh,
assure you,
okay,
you've never
okay.
played field hockey.
Yes.
Right. It's like, it's
Yes.
okay. It's
Yes.
okay. This
Right.
is like a practice.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
wild.
But it is
know.
sad to see when it happens to the extent that it can impact a sport.
Without a doubt.
That feels a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
like, wow, there are still grown-ups out there who just cannot control their emotions.
I know.
It's wild.
Yeah, I've heard that it gets worse. I mean, Annabelle's only a middle schooler, but when you throw recruitment in there, I can
I think
only
it gets
imagine.
better.
It
Honestly,
gets better, okay.
because they have to be quiet.
They have to behave.
They have to.
That
And
makes
wins and
sense.
losses don't matter as much, right? It's about how
Yeah.
your kid and your team is playing.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I think it is a little bit better. I think
Good.
behind the scenes it's worse. But I think
But
Yeah.
in public it's a
in
little
public
better.
it's better,
Right.
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm having like flashbacks to those crazy games and the crazy parents. My dad was a soccer coach his whole life. My brother was a coach. And it's just like,
Yeah. But
Seeing
even
that
with
side
the
of it.
rise of youth sports, how it's different than it was. I remember parents being like that when I
Yeah.
played.
No,
too, on the
that's for
sidelines.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it was,
Well, horrible.
So, personalities, I don't think change over time. I think
no,
yeah,
for sure.
personalities.
Right. And it's like generational. It's like, well, my dad was like this. I guess I
Yeah.
had to be like
Right,
this. Or
right.
I do feel like it's more dads, but what do I know?
But what do I know? What do you think? Now that you've been doing this for, let's call it like a decade,
God.
a little time. How are you seeing athletes like show up later in life? I bet you have so many like awesome success stories about where your athletes are.
Oh, it's amazing.
today.
I think that is the most rewarding part. Is our end of every year at the end of the year we have a huge banquet with our boys program.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Gillette and we get to take a picture, boys and girls on the field, celebrating them all
so
going to college,
cool.
whether they're playing lacrosse or another sport or just
Yeah.
academics, and we just celebrate them, right? And that's like such. That's the dream big moment that
bet.
I've lived for when I
Right.
started this with those 100 girls, I think. But then after, it's the best when they so our 2021, class of 2021 just graduated. And like so many of them are back living in Boston. They're nurses
it.
or they're working at corporate and they're all coming back to coach. And it's like, that's all I
That
need,
is
right? So
amazing.
it's like, we've hit that cycle where we have these girls that we coached, how we want things to be, our expectations. We don't have to do it again, right?
Yeah.
And we know them as people. And now they're coming back and they're my head coaches coming up this coming year. And I'm like, it's just full circle,
That's
full
really
circle
cool.
moment,
That's the scalability model right there.
Yeah,
That's how
amen.
you consistently run
Yeah.
a solid program. You have people coming out of it and then going back into
Yeah,
it.
it's
That is
amazing.
a sign
Yeah.
of success.
And then I have the
1,000%.
women who are having babies. We had 5 coaches that had babies. Okay, this summer
love it.
alone.
Future Laxachusetts.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think 4 girls and a boy, which is amazing.
Girl
And
Girl gang.
yeah. But then, so they go out, I get a few young college coaches in and then they'll be back as soon as they're ready to go.
that's so
you know?
great.
Or Sammy and Kath will be back tomorrow. But that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Wild.
Oh,
Wild.
that is awesome.
Again, even as with newborns, I mean, both of them, like Kath's sending out payroll, Sammy's on the phone with college coaches. I mean, the
Women
rest never.
are
They're
amazing.
amazing.
They're amazing.
There have been times when I've seen the coaches on the sidelines with the baby in the carrier.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah,
They
so
love it.
Next time you see that, please
Yeah.
take a picture
I know.
for me.
I know. Yeah.
That is the stuff that just makes me feel so full and hopeful for the future.
I agree.
It's hard for working moms still. It is
know.
still really
I
hard.
know.
And I love to see younger women just like, no, I'm doing this.
I know.
And if it's
Right.
with the baby strapped to me, I'm doing it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's the coolest to me.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, Abby's on vacation and she's like, well, I'm sort of on vacation. I'll still
I
take
know.
all the
Oh
calls.
my
I'm like,
God.
okay.
Right.
If you
Right.
want.
So-
I don't force this though. Like this
Yeah.
is not
Right.
me being a dictator here. This
No.
is, it's because it's what we love, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, well, if you can take phone calls from the beach, we'll take it. You
Right.
know?
Yes.
The month of August is our
It's
month. So.
that's the 1 month you have off.
We have
from.
1 month of
Yeah.
August.
Okay.
It's a glorious month. Though.
I
It's
bet.
great.
I bet.
It's fun. But then you're ready to go back,
Totally.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I tell
Well-
everyone, I'm like, put your lacrosse stick away.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
except you're going to Lake Winnie Camp.
Winnie
That's
Camp
okay.
is
That's
fun.
allowed.
Come on.
I want to go to Winnie
it's
Camp.
But I will say,
amazing.
Tracy knew exactly where Annabelle was.
Yeah.
When I said, "Oh, Annabelle's at lacrosse camp,"
knew right
because
away.
I knew she's at Winnie.
Yeah.
That's so
Winnie
cool.
Lax camp. Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
38 is too old to start
Yeah,
lacrosse?
I mean, come on over.
Could I try now? I do have good
Maddie's like,
hand-eye
"I'm gonna join."
coordination.
You do.
Oh my God, that's so funny. No, that camp sounds amazing. I mean, it's just, I feel emotional because I love working moms in general.
We do.
It's just
We
like,
do.
talk about passion. That is
Yeah.
my passion, is helping moms. And women in leadership positions who are like you and like you, who are creating companies and creating organizations that people want to be at and want to stay at,
Yeah.
is the path to women taking over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
World domination.
Right,
course.
which we
Of
got to
course.
do. So it's just so great to see. And I think it's especially cool to see in the sports side of things where there can be so much of that, like, negative pressure, all about wins and losses, all about like where you go, what you do, who you play for, what kind of stick you have, you know, all of those little things that end up driving competition for sure in a good way, but also driving it in a way that can be really harmful to these kids coming up. And it's
sure.
just so cool to see. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that.
Let's talk about the women's lacrosse league.
Yeah,
and the
let's.
Boston Guard.
Love it.
I love. I mean, it's like everybody at Laxachusetts is obsessed because Tracy's the assistant coach. So, but like, tell me about the origin story.
All right, well,
of
this
all
is
of that.
such a cool story.
Okay.
So, the head coach, Lori DeLuca, moved up here because her husband, Ben, was coaching at Harvard. And this was, I'm going to get it wrong, a long time ago. Her kids were little, must have been
Okay.
3rd and 4th grade. And she had just moved to Cohasset and wanted to stay involved in lacrosse. So Dave Evans connected me with her and he said, I've got this awesome person who wants to help out. I'm like, amazing. So Lori and I connected, hit it off right away. Her little girls came. They were here for 2 years. Lori was amazing, such an awesome coach. And then they left. He got the head coaching job at Delaware.
Oh yes, he's at Delaware.
Which is awesome.
Very cool.
So the family left, and we've stayed in touch. And then when she got offered the head coaching job, she sent me this text out of the blue and was like, "Hey, I want you to do this with me." And I was like, "What? Okay." I sent it to my husband. And my husband's like, "Well, you got to say yes."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wait, but did you read it? I'm going to be gone for 10 days. Did you
Yeah.
read this?"
Right.
But the opportunity was too good to pass
Yeah.
up. And coaching with Lori DeLuca is a dream. Her
bet.
and I are just two peas in a pod. The way we think, the way we coach, our mindset, for us, it's not about Lori and Tracy. It's
Yeah.
about everything else. What's bigger? There's so much bigger than, the coaches or who we are. It's about our team and it's about growing the sport and, what the WL is all about and,
Yeah.
putting these women on the map. And we just got so lucky. We had a team full of BC and Notre Dame girls and Marge from Princeton. And we had Katie who was unbelievable as our goalie. We just came together so quickly.
They won, by the way.
We won the championship
That is
series, which was so
so
cool.
dope.
And I was gone for
That.
10 days.
Yep.
4 little kids. My husband did it.
Kudos.
Men,
Which is awesome.
you can do
He
it.
did come down at the end of the week. My mom helped out. It was
good.
huge. But that was the longest I've ever been away from
Oh,
home.
I
sure.
bet.
But every minute that I spent with the WL down there was filled my lifelong lacrosse dream, right? Everything about it. They do it right. Rachel Del Cecco is so special. She's the VP of the PLL WLL and is the WLL, right? And everything she does is just magic. They didn't forget one little thing, whether it was a
Really?
snack or, the snacks that we had or the people that were our trainers and our liaisons, Luke, who was amazing. I mean, all these people were just salt of the earth.
Yeah.
Everybody was there for the right reasons, even our competitors, right? Going against the Charm and the Palms and all the New York
Yeah.
Charging, and it was a moment that I'll never forget for sure. Of
is
10 days that was so
amazing.
special. It was cool. And then now we're still connected. So Lori and I were invited to coach the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. We got to be with 40 of the best women's lacrosse players on the planet, right? For, quick little 4th of July weekend out in Kansas City, which was unbelievable experience. And then we were just at, they were just in Boston. So they honored us at halftime. And, they just make you feel so special and so part of the organization. My family thinks it is the coolest
They must think
thing.
you're a superstar.
They think it's
'cause
pretty
you
cool.
are.
I think you're a superstar.
No, and it's just so fun. And the relationships that I was able to build with these women and how much they give back to the sport, right? And I am now being able to use that for our Laxachusetts girls and so much professional development for me too, right? Because these women were coached by the best in the world, like Keisha and Chris Halfpenny and Jenny Levy and all these unbelievable women. And I just hearing the tidbits I picked up, bringing it back to my club and my high school team, and it changed everything for me. I think professionally and personally.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
I could talk about it for days. I'm sorry.
No, please do. I
really
want
was.
to
It
hear
was
more.
so special.
What were some of the biggest takeaways for you from that experience?
So lacrosse is changing. So we have our field game, which is so special. It's something that's been around for a long time. And now in the Olympics, we're going to sixes. So Lori and I had never coached sixes before. So we did a deep dive. We went into box lacrosse and the sixes that they've played before. And sixes is what's going to be in the Olympics. And we were changing the rules as we went because we are creating the game, which that in itself is so cool.
Historic.
It's super,
and international rules is different than the WL rules. But, for us, we're just, we have to try to keep this game safe.
Right.
Because we don't want to go into full equipment. We want to keep our girls' game the way it is with our goggles and our sticks. But then you have Charlotte North who's shooting 96 miles per hour. So you need to
They'll knock you out.
be careful when you're not in shooting space or the defender isn't in the middle of the goal, which in boys lacrosse you can be, right? They can block shots and that's okay. It's not okay for girls.
No,
It's
you
gonna
don't
hurt.
get in.
Oh my God.
So that's a huge takeaway is growing the game. And I always laugh because I have a 5-year-old. So I go from coaching futures to coaching our club kids to my high school team to then coaching the WL.
The Olympians.
And I'm like, I have touched every little piece of the game. Which is so cool. And sometimes I'll get a rule wrong and I'm like, well, I've like, hold on.
How
which
old are you?
game am I coaching?
Yeah.
But it's also different. So I think that's part of it too, is we're trying in general, U.S. lacrosse is just trying to figure out a way to streamline some of these rules, make it easier for fans.
I would love that.
I know.
That makes sense.
Everything's about making it fan-friendly on TV.
Right.
I mean, if you watch that. So we did the sixes in February, and then our All-Star game was a version of tens, which is new too. So it's a version very similar to boys or men's lacrosse. Whereas there's no draw circle. You're playing the wings. There is no shooting space. There's no 8 meter. You're still playing everything's man up, man down on any type of cards. So it's pretty
totally
cool.
different. Yeah.
And it's just that experience of navigating it and learning new rules or figuring out new strategies or talking with these unbelievable young women about what their thoughts are. How should we do this? Or that sounds like a really good idea. Let's try running that. So it's pretty cool.
Is that unique to lacrosse? Forgive my ignorance, but
Like boys and girls being so different?
No.
Oh.
That I know to be very different. But different types of the game and different rules at different ages.
It's newer.
But
when I played lacrosse, there were no boundaries. So that was back in 2000.
Right. Back in the
so
day, I remember.
or whatever,
ourselves.
1990, late 90s when I started. So
The late 1900s.
It's always continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
Because they do want to make it more friendly. They do want more kids to pick up the sport. And to do that, you have to simplify, right?
Right.
Or you
That
have
makes
to try to
sense.
make it a little bit more like the boys so it's not as different, right?
Right.
So-
Right.
I guess even professional sports are doing that.
I mean, they do. Like the
kind of,
NFL
to-
sometimes
for
changes
safety
rules.
reasons.
Yeah.
Safety, is huge.
But it's funny, on the sidelines, Annabelle was in, her Hingham group was 5'6", I think, this year for select. And then it's hard to go back and forth because 5'6" does modified checking.
Right.
But then when she plays with,
I bet.
we did a sixes league this summer, and they don't do modified checking. But then the referee would be like, "We'll do modified checking," and then somebody would be behind me. Well, what's that? And I'm like, "We're doing modified checking." And then people are like, "Wow, Sarah, you know what you're talking about?" And I'm like, "I sure do."
Yeah.
Because I'd just heard it from
just
the ref.
heard it.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
And I'm
right,
like, "It's modified checking."
yeah.
It was so, but we all laugh, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
Because it's half the time we're like, "Wait, are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?"
Right.
That's
But it's just
exciting.
fun.
It is
just
fun. It is cool. And it is and it's we have direct impact over it, right? What's working, what's not working, how
Right.
to fix it, how to change it, how to make it better. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, and that's really neat because you can see all those iterations, you can see how it impacts young athletes immediately because you're also with the young athletes.
Correct.
Like that is so, to me, that is so unique. And maybe I just don't know youth
No,
sports
it
enough yet,
is
but
so
it's like
unique.
that is,
Yeah.
I think, remarkable.
It's cool.
I think
It's cool.
Tracy is the queen of
Me
women's
too.
lacrosse.
I'm
She
literally
knows
like,
all of it.
What? That is so neat.
So you have a player on your team whose name is Charlotte North, who is the Caitlin Clark of lacrosse,
And
women's
the best
lacrosse.
human on the planet.
So yeah, tell us about her.
Oh, she's just the best. First of all, her leadership skills are so special. She can take a team and get everyone to rally around her just because of who she is. She's just so fun, right? She's fun. She's
Good
silly.
energy.
She's a great energy. She brings all those intangibles that you want in a teammee. And she's the best player in the world. So
Yeah.
it makes it
And she
makes
went to
it-
Boston College and
makes
lives in
it so
Boston.
awesome, right?
Yep.
And I think it's something Acacia always used to say was just how special Charlotte was, but it wasn't necessarily just her lacrosse ability.
Right.
It's just who she is, right? And she's like that off the field. Whether
Right.
she's playing golf in a foursome, she's having a good time, always making jokes, always bringing that energy, and she's just the best.
Those are
Wild.
the professional athletes who end up changing the games, not
Right.
to just like bring it back to my one true love, Tom Brady, but that reminds me a very good example of just those intangibles that and really become sports legends because people want to play with them, people want to coach them. They make the sport feel more approachable. And I think that's so cool for women's lacrosse because to me, I'll speak for myself, lacrosse can feel like intimidating, I think, because it's not that mainstream. Until very recently, there wasn't even men's professional. So you don't really know what you're watching, what you're looking at. So it's like, ooh, can I like be into this? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
So to have so early days an athlete and a person like that kind of leading the charge on bringing it to the masses is unbelievable.
Yeah, and from our Boston Guard game, I think it was like our third game or whatever, we won. And the St. James where we played is just such an intimate, awesome setting where the fans really feel part of it. That's cool. And I am telling you, the entire downstairs area were filled with girls waiting to have Charlotte North sign something.
Yeah.
And she does
That's
it. She
so
goes
cool.
out, hour and a half, 2 hours, signs everybody's stuff, and just making these girls' dreams, taking pictures, and it just blows your mind.
That is
and they call it like
so
the Charlotte
cool.
North effect, but it is what is growing the game.
It is. So Annabelle Stick was signed by her.
That is so cool.
We'll frame it.
Of course.
But women's sports are, I think I had the statistic, they've increased, the coverage has increased by almost 300% in 1 year.
Unbelievable.
That's like the Caitlin Clark effect.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's also the Caitlin
Exactly.
Clark
Yeah.
effect. Also, there was a news article a couple of months ago about a new bar opening up in
Yes.
Boston, the Sports Bra.
Yep.
Yes.
That is going to be all
Women's sports, which is amazing.
Which is amazing.
I am
special.
so
And the
here
WLL
for that.
will be on
Yeah.
it.
It's so
I am so
cool.
here for it too. But we like people will turn out to watch Charlotte. They will turn
All the time.
All the time.
I mean, we
All
were
the time.
sold out at Championship Series,
I mean,
even when we
women's
were out in
lacrosse sold
Kansas
out.
City on July 4th. I mean, it wasn't
is
sold out, but it was
wild.
awesome crowd out in
Wow.
Kansas City,
Right.
which I
Those
know
are the
they
people
show
who,
up
like
for
want to
sports.
be there.
They want to be there.
That's a great
But-
sports city too.
but
But
so cool.
still,
It is, but I would think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy, but are the biggest women's lacrosse markets where the WLL teams are from, like New York, Boston, what's it, North Carolina, or no, Maryland, and
Maryland,
California?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just growing like crazy
It
out
is.
west.
Yeah.
So that's just a huge
Really?
market for I think the PLL and WLL. I mean, those California girls, they are
Yeah.
athletes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Washington, Nevada, get the sticks in
Boston,
their
keep
hand.
it up.
Keep it up, exactly.
New
We've
England
got some
girlies.
competition. I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, those are huge markets for lacrosse, and I think it's the WL and the PLL's goal to go to those other areas like Kansas City, right, to
Right.
show them what a lacrosse stick is. Like people around there didn't know.
Is that right?
Which is so cool. Like you'd be in the
Yeah.
hotel and they'd be like, "What is that?" You know?
wow.
It's wild.
So it's
is
awesome.
wild.
Yeah.
We're so
know.
lucky to be
We're
from
so-
Massachusetts.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say,
We
you
really
took
are.
the words out of my mouth.
really
Just put
are.
it on the list of reasons why
We
being
love
from
Boston.
here and
I
we
know.
love Boston is
Agreed.
just so incredible.
Agreed.
I agree with you. So is that what's sort of next for Boston Guard? Is just continuing to grow the footprint?
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's as of now, that's what we've been told. But our what's next is our Champ Series in February.
In February,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where's that?
That'll be at the St. James. It's in Virginia, right
Okay.
outside of DC. It's very
Very cool.
convenient and very easy to get to,
Is
which
it?
is cool.
Yeah.
It's a great area.
We're going to be going.
It's a good trip over President's Day weekend. It's very fun.
We'll have to
highly recommend.
quit ski racing
you're gonna
that
have to-
weekend.
just a quick
just
just
for that
one,
race.
Yeah.
It is. It's a really, really fun day because you can see like all the teams play.
That's awesome.
And the men too. The men, it's just so much fun. But the
Men's
sixes for the women, there's something special about it.
I have to
can't
tell you,
wait to
Annabelle
check that
did
out.
The Sixes League this summer, and it's fast.
It's so
fun. It's
so fun.
Like it's very. It's
a lot of running.
It's a lot of running.
Couldn't be
It's a
me.
lot of running. It was really fun. It's
It
a fun
is
way to
cool.
watch the sport.
That's
so
very cool.
that is so interesting.
So this is like a basic question, but I am only.
Maddie's like, what's lacrosse?
Yeah. What is a lacrosse stick? Yeah. No. Can you explain? No, but as I was mentioning earlier, I know the Copeland family and Andy was the coach of the Portland Water Dogs, right? Is that Portland?
Philadelphia Water Dogs.
Philadelphia
Yes.
Water Dogs.
Yes.
Okay. Don't let's edit
that.
that part out. I don't know why I thought it was Portland. So it's been cool to see professional lacrosse grow through that lens, men's professional lacrosse. I have really yet to see a ton of like press news, like, oh, to be honest, I didn't even know there was a professional women's lacrosse league starting and going to the Olympics. So, like, from a future of the sport perspective, is the plan to just expand like any other professional sport? So we're just going to start getting lax teams in like every great sport
I don't think
city?
so. So their model's a little bit different. So what they do is they have 8 teams and they're going to a different location and playing Friday, Saturdays.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it started that these teams were not attached to a town or a city.
I see.
And 2 years ago, maybe, then they became the Boston Cannons.
Got it.
Right? So
Yeah.
now you have like a team affiliation. So
But it's more of
everything
like
my
a-
son has is Boston Cannons, even
So
though he
cute.
loves players from other teams,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, for example, they were just in Boston. They played Friday night. The Cannons play back to back. The other teams only play one game, either
Interesting.
Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
Which is cool because then you'll see those. So, like Harvard was absolutely
That is
packed
so cool.
for those 2 days, which was awesome. And you got to see all these different teams and professional
Right.
players play. And, they were off this weekend and the next weekend starts their playoffs, but they've been in Utah and Philadelphia.
That's so
and
neat. So
they've
it's
been all
more of like a
over.
showcase
Of those pro
model
teams.
versus like the conferences. and-
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
So it's cool. So right now we just have 4 teams for the WLL.
Yeah.
And we'll grow from there.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah,
it. I
it's awesome.
cannot
How
wait
cool
to
that
see.
Boston is one of them.
It is.
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's the best.
very
coolest.
cool.
The best.
I mean,
coolest.
obviously.
It's just so you cannot beat Boston as a sports city.
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah. Maddie
just
is.
can't.
Yeah. You are a big.
I'm a big Boston sports
Yeah.
fan, but this is exactly why.
Right,
Because
right.
people come out, they show up, and they care about their athletes. We don't always treat them very well because we're a little bit psychotic at
Right.
the end of the day. But
Right.
no, but I think that is improving
We're
as well. I think
competitive.
we're
That's what we call
competitive.
it.
Yes,
It's
that's
that
a nicer way
Boston
to put
grit.
it.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
that
grit,
Boston
and
grit.
I'm so excited. I can't wait
Yeah.
to go home and tell my oldest
You're joining Laxachusetts.
Yeah.
you're gonna have
Get
to
ready for
learn to play
tryouts.
Come on
lacrosse.
over.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
We got futures right in Marlboro
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Right
Oh,
down, right
yeah.
around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
Jury's still out on if she's going to be a team sports girly.
That's okay.
We'll see.
That's all
We'll
right.
see. She this
She's in
week was
first grade.
like,
See, that's
exactly.
what I say. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. This week, her thing is like, I think I want to try to play basketball. I'm like, okay, honey,
Great.
Yeah.
let's do it. Call
Yeah.
Parks and Rec. We'll sign
you up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So yeah, we'll
You
see.
just want it to be fun for now.
exactly.
That's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's all that
field
matters.
hockey was too much for her, so I would be
Yeah.
curious if lacrosse would
We make it
feel-
really fun.
Yeah.
We have a
love
lot
it.
of fun.
It's really.
Even
God,
at the
I
big
gotta
kid
look it up.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's really
Well,
fun.
that is so clear. Like this conversation has been so fun because
Yeah.
you are truly passionate about it.
know.
It's not
Thanks
just like,
so
oh,
much.
gotta
Thanks,
coach
guys.
lax.
We're lucky we have you in Boston. We're lucky we have your program in Boston.
Yes.
Because it's awesome.
Thanks.
We do. We feel lucky.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And my shirt says everybody
I love
watches
it.
women's
Yes,
sports.
I was waiting for you
and
to
everybody
show it.
should watch women's sports because they're awesome.
They are.
I think watching women's sports, sorry to say, is more fun than watching men's sports.
I do
It's
too.
just more engaging. I think it's less violent if we're being
So
really
much passion,
honest.
too.
Yeah.
So much passion.
If you watch boys lacrosse, all you hear is like sticks hitting armor.
Right.
Yeah. My little guy played last year, and he would literally say, "Okay, it's Saturday. Where's my armor?" I'm like, "Okay, we don't
know.
call it armor, but
know,
that
you're
is
like,
kind of
wait.
what it is."
God, I
No, it's crazy. No,
And my
brother,
son's on the opposite side. Like, I can't wait to hit someone today.
yeah.
Give me my stick.
Yeah. No, my brother dislocated his shoulder literally 4 times. He's had
sure.
multiple
I'm
surgeries.
sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and I mean, look, sports are sports.
right.
It's all part of the gig. And
Totally.
if you're into it, you're into it. But yeah, it's very cool.
It is.
It's just girls taking over the world.
Girls rule.
Girls rule.
Yeah.
What else we got? I just want to talk about everything girls related.
I know, Maddie. But thank you, Tracey. This was so
No,
fun.
this was awesome.
This
so
was
special.
incredible.
Anytime you guys want me, I'm here.
We'll all the time.
You know what? We'll have to do an episode 15.2 or however you do that.
Right.
After the Olympics.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Well, before
I'm
the
not
Olympics, that's like
involved in the
far
Olympics.
away.
I wish
but
I was.
still,
Yeah,
well,
but this is, I mean, it sounds like you're going to be.
Acacia will be, I hope.
yeah. I mean,
Number one fan.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yes,
no. But
so
as
many
the
of the women that
sport
we're
grows,
coaching
yes.
will be part of the Olympic team. And they were just over in China. They just played at the World Cup. They won
Wow.
gold.
Amazing.
So many.
They won
I think
gold?
Okay.
almost all the girls in the WL were on the team.
On
They were
that
awesome.
team,
I mean, it
yeah.
was 12 players. There were a couple current college players that went to China
That
that were
is
selected out
so
of 12
cool.
players in the whole country. So special. But shout out to them for winning gold.
Shout
They
out
were
to
yeah,
them.
shout out to
amazing.
them. We all need to be tuning into women's
Well, it was
lacrosse.
it was 1 a.m. in China were the games.
I'm going
I
to
know.
pull it up
But
on
it's
you know
pretty
what?
cool.
YouTube.
It's special. They did a great job. And one more huge shout
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
One of our Laxachusetts coaches, Meg Smith, was the head coach of Ireland. And she
Wow.
was over in China.
Oh my gosh.
So it was pretty special
That's
experience.
really
So,
cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's cool. I'm like I said, the coaches from Laxachusetts, they have their hands in lots of
They
different
really
things.
do.
It's
It's
really cool.
Pretty special.
You know, it was really fun, and you noticed a lot of this when NCAA tournament was at Gillette. And
it was the
the best.
4 days of
Just
unbelievable
so
lacrosse. Yeah.
fun.
so cool.
And BC played UNC.
I gotta, like, get
Northwestern.
into this.
It
It's
was
pretty fun.
amazing. It was really fun.
I got to take a sport off my plate before I add lacrosse. What do
It's
I
the
cancel?
fastest sport on 2 feet.
It sure is.
Oh,
That's the motto.
I love it.
I learned that from the signs at Gillette.
Yeah.
I
And I was
love
like,
that.
is it the fastest?
Yeah,
I
you're
can't
like,
think of another one that's faster.
No,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. That is awesome.
All right, Tracey, thank you so much for being here.
You are
You're
so welcome.
Our
Thank
best
you.
guest ever.
Yeah, that
Thanks,
was so
guys.
fun.
Thanks so
We'll
much
see
for
you
having me.
soon.
Absolutely.